Guys, what's going on? Happy Wednesday and welcome to the Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. Stay with me and we're going to dig into townhouses.
You better get fired up.
Get fired up. I am fired up, man. It is Wednesday, and every single Wednesday we're here usually at 11 o'clock. Today we had to do it at 11:30 due to some technical difficulties, but we're going to dig into condos today, letting you know a little bit about the feeling of, did I say condos? Townhouses, and what's going on specifically in that market. So let me share screen here. Give me 1 second. And what I'm going to pull up is the MLS. It's a multiple listing service, and it's everything. Here you go, right here, that you're able to see as a realtor when a home is put on the market, right? This is the hub, and it has what's called an IDX feed to a bunch of different sites like Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor, EXP Realty, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Remax, you name it. This is kind of the source of everything. So what we're going to do is I'm going to punch in Port St. Lucie here, and we're going to look at actives for sale right now. And I'm going to come down to type and punch in townhouses. Okay. So you can see right now, and I'm going to grab some paper here just so I can take some notes. You can see right in the top left corner right here, it says we've got 81 results. Okay, so we've got 81 active for sale right now. I want to look at how many we've got sold, and we're going to go in the last 6 months. Okay, so it's 7-9. Let's go back to 1-9. And you can see sold, we've got 87 sold. Okay. How many did we have that expired? All right. So they had a listing. The listing didn't happen. 43 expired. That means they had a listing probably 6 months. That's what most are. Not all of them, but most of them. And that 6-month contract ran out. And now, boom, they're not on the market anymore. Maybe they are on the market, but that listing was expired. So here we've got 3 withdrawn. That means they took it off for whatever reason. Temporary off market, we've got another 2. And canceled, which is at the bottom here, we've got another 33 canceled. Okay. So we've got 87 sold, but we've got 81 for sale right now, 43 that expired, 3 withdrawn, 2 temporary withdrawn, and 33 that canceled. So when I typically do inventory, I'm going to pull up my calculator. I think you'll be able to see it here. I'm typically going to say, okay, how many did we sell over the last, what is that? How many did we sell over the last 6 months? We sold 87 divided by 81. Why is my calculator not working? Oh, I got to hit numlock. 87. No, that's my problem. 87. No, hit numlock again. 7. There we go. Divided by 81. Okay. So that, we got to go 81 divided by 87. There we go. Times 6 months. Oh, I hit divided by. Geez, what am I doing today? Times 6 months means we got let's just call it 5.6 months of inventory. Okay. But what it's not taking into consideration is those 43 expireds, which back in 2021, we did not have. Let's go back. Why even say it? Let's go back and actually look. So let's go back to, let's say 2021, and we can't look up actives, right? But I can look up how many sales we had, and we're going to use a 6-month period. Let's just change this to 2021. So this is the same 6-month period. Instead of 87 sold, we had, I just had it. There was 90 something. Let's change that. And then let's change that. Why is it not doing it? All right, let's go list price of $1,000 or more. Get rid of it. Okay, so we got 96 that sold in that same 6-month period 4 years ago, back in 2021. 96. So you would think if we were, that's roughly 10% more. You would think we would have roughly 10% more in expireds, which would bring us to about 47, 48 expireds. Let's see what it says. Copy. Oh my gosh, I made a mistake, a painful mistake. This should be 1/9/2025. So the expireds weren't 43, they were 20. Okay, that's how many we had. So let's see how many we had back in 2021. Same dates. I would guess we'd have 22, 23. We had 3. Oh, I lost it again. Man, this system is just slow today. Come on. There we go. 3. So right now we got 20 expireds over 6 months. In 2021, we had 3. Okay. Let's look at canceled. I'm pretty sure I jacked up those dates too. So let's make sure that's right. 25 to today. Okay. So we've got, oh, it's because I hit that and I got to change this to canceled. So how many canceled we've had in the last 6 months? We've had 17. So you would think, okay, maybe we had 19 to 20 canceled back in 2021 if it's somewhat similar. We had 7. All right. So you're seeing much more expireds, much more canceleds. You're seeing less sales. And you're seeing a ton active out there. And I'll tell you the biggest thing that I'm hearing now, this is my little bubble. So take that with a grain of salt. But in my little bubble, the people who don't like the townhomes are not liking them because they don't want the HOA fee associated with them. That's the challenge. The price is rarely the challenge. Okay. It's the fee, the monthly fee that's associated with that HOA. And no HOA is able to keep them down right now because everybody's costs are going up. Insurance is going up. Landscaping's going up. Inflation's going up. And then in addition to that, you've got the new condo law that came into play that's saying, hey, if you got a 3+ story condo, you've got to do a reserve study and you've got to save 100% of those expected expenses. So I've seen people's HOA fees go from $400 to $1,500, $1,800, $2,000 every single month. These are people, a lot of whom are on Social Security. That's all they've got. Very challenging. Now, you might say, well, Joe, we're looking at townhouses. You're talking about 3-story condos. You're right. But because of that, a lot of HOAs that don't have to stick to that law because they don't have 3-story condos still are. Because they think, my gosh, if it's good for them, we should probably do it too. If you don't do it, you're going to have a lot more assessments. You're paying the money no matter what. It's just, do you want to pay it in a big one-time assessment that comes who knows when? Or do you want to pay it in smaller monthly HOA fees? And the consensus, the trend, partially by that law, is going in the direction of, hey, we're going to up the fees to lower the assessments. And that's becoming challenging for people. So let's look at these 81 that are currently for sale. I'm going to put these in order of highest to lowest HOA fees. So you can see on the higher end, we've got 698, 696, 696, 696, 696. We've got 6 that are in the 690s. How many do we have at 600 or higher? 658, big gap down to 590. We've got 11 out of the 81. So that's about 15% are at 658 or higher. Let's see where the 500s start right here. 28 out of 81. Not quite 40%. I'm going to guess that's about 35% are at 516 or higher. 400 or higher. Okay, 399 just made the cut. 35 out of 81. That's got to be a little over 40%, maybe 43, 44%, something like that. Even on the low end, we've got some down here that are 107, 160, 190. Very rare. But look at the prices of these because that's lower. Your prices are 354, 329, 404, 410, 359, 404. Let's look on the higher end. Now we've got some at 280. Here's one at 314.9, 275, 239, 224.9, 249. It unquestionably impacts your value and what you're able to get for your property. I'll tell you right now, just this morning, I looked in a particular neighborhood And since the first of the year, which is just a hair over 6 months, they've had a grand total of one townhouse sale. And their fees are probably right around $500-600 a month. They've had one sale. How many actives right now? 9. That means it would take them 9 6-month periods or 54 months. What is that, like 4.5 years to get through that inventory if they're selling one every single 6-month period? So if you're thinking about purchasing a townhouse or a condo, and I said this when the new law came out, if you can't afford the monthly, the higher monthlies, right? $500, $600, $700, do not buy one. In my opinion, you should not buy one. That's my opinion. But if you can afford that monthly, I think you're going to get better deals on condos and some townhouses over the next year or two than you're ever going to get. And I think most people are going to be scared of them because they see the higher monthly and they're not seeing the long-term picture. And I think if you can make that happen, rent it out to offset those, and then sell it down the road once those fees come back down because you've got reserves built up, now I think you've got yourself a great investment. I don't think a lot of people will take advantage of it. I've had a grand total of one person tell me that that's part of their strategy. But I think that those who do and are financially prepared are probably going to get a sweet deal. Now, am I seeing this same hit when it comes to single families? No. I'll tell you, everything that I've dealt with that's up to maybe 375 in Port St. Lucie, outside of an HOA, in an HOA, if it's in good condition, it's priced right, it's going pretty quick. Maybe it's taken a $5,000 hit, but people are talking about these hits. I'm not seeing these hits. The data just isn't supporting it. Now, 450 to probably 750, I'm seeing a lot of hits. Seeing a lot of people sitting. I'm seeing a lot of price reductions. People think price reductions means a soft market too. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. If I've got a home worth 500,000, I list it at 600, and I bring it down to 575 and it doesn't sell, and I bring it down to 550 and it doesn't sell, and I bring it down to 5.25 and it doesn't sell, that doesn't mean it's a soft market. That means it's a greedy seller who was way overpriced, and I see it all the time. Now, some people, they're worth 500. They put it on at 510. They don't sell. They put it on at 500. Now they're market worn. They've been on for 30 to 60 days. It doesn't sell. And they got to drop it to 490 to be able to sell their home that they probably could have got 500 for. We're seeing a little bit of that now. And again, specifically in that like 450 to 750 price point. Everything like 800 and higher is still going pretty well. I'm not seeing a lot of wait time on those. So if you've got a home in that 450 to 750 range, you've got to be staged right. You've got to clean your house. You've got to be open to showings. I've got one listing right now specifically that probably half the showings that come through get canceled. And I've had a discussion with the seller, like you're literally blocking off half of your buyer pool. I'm looking for ways to increase your buyer pool by 5%, 10%, 15%. Like I'm working my butt off to make calls, to market, to hold opens, to whatever I got to do to increase that buyer pool by this much. And when you shut off half the showings, you're taking this buyer pool and making it that big. That can be challenging for you. When you're in that 450 to 750 price point, it's got to look good. It's got to be priced good. You got to be taking your showings, and you've got to be really on top of everything. Now, even in that 375 and below range, you still got to be on top of things. But I'll tell you, I've had a couple in the last probably month that went with multiple offers. We were priced right. It was staged right. Home had a new roof, went lickety split. Plenty of interest. Good, strong offers. But that's not what most people are doing. Most people, if you go tell them, hey, your house is worth X, they're going to want to list it at X plus $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. And 99% of those people are having a tough time selling right now. But for those who you tell them, hey, the market says your home is worth X, and they list it at X, I would guess 80% of them are not having a problem selling. Again, if you're in that, 500 to 600 range, you don't have a pool, you are in an HOA, that's really tough. Condos and townhouses right now, a little more challenging. And things change. Guys, I'm going to be squeaking a different story here in about 18 months. And I don't know what that story is going to be because it changes all the time. 2019 was completely different than 2021. which was completely different than 2023, which is completely different than 2025. So we don't know what's going to happen in 2026, 2027. I promise you it's going to be different. Maybe it'll be worse. Maybe it'll be better. We don't know. I have guesses. But I will say again, I think if you've got the ability to make the monthly on some of these townhouses and you can buy it considerably under market, which that's a challenge. You got to submit a lot of offers. You got to know what that number should be. You could get yourself a great investment right now. Guys, thanks for joining me. If you've got future topics you'd like me to focus on in our next Florida Treasure Coast Market update, please let me know. You can either let me know in the comments or a DM, and I'm happy to do so. But again, thanks for joining me and have a great rest of your week. Take care.